What were some of the signs that led you to say, you know what, things aren't going the way I expect them to go early on, before the diagnosis?
My name is Nancy Marchese. I'm a board-certified doctoral level behavior analyst and a clinical psychologist. My goal is to help 2 million children with autism and their families by transforming their lives, and I can't wait to help you too.
Pointing, if I would point, look at the plane or look at the bird, he would look at my finger.
Yeah.
And I knew there was something wrong. He didn't understand what that form of communication was, which I later learned, now that I'm, you know, hindsight is 2020, that's the first form of communication, pointing.
Using a point, following a point, something, you know, magical called joint attention.
Yes.
Yeah, which we'll get to, but you can also teach a lot of these things, you know. Thankfully, we've got amazing strategies, right, to help kids who aren't doing those things. But that was one of the early signs. So wasn't following a point, wasn't using a point appropriately. What other things were red flags for you?
He didn't always turn around when I called his name.
Yeah.
So at first I thought maybe he has something wrong with his hearing. Sometimes he did, sometimes he didn't. There was a lot of visual stimming.
Explain to people what visual stimming is.
So he would take the Legos, the big chunky Legos for toddlers, and he would build a stick with them and pass it back and forth in front of his eyes, like peripheral vision. And I had no idea what was happening, but I knew it was not quite right.
Yeah.
So that was one of the first signs as well. So of course I ran to the pediatrician, he needs an eye test. Then it was, he needs a hearing test. Then it was, of course, your first time mom, boys are slower than girls. I went through all of that as well. There wasn't as much awareness back then. So it was a process.
There's only so much we could cover in the short amount of time we had today. If you found value in what we talked about, go to breakthroughautism.ca, join our newsletter, and also follow me on my socials.